Have you ever wondered how far human ingenuity can go in the face of adversity? Imagine being locked in a fortress, surrounded by guards, and yet still finding a way to escape. This is the story of one of the most extraordinary prison escapes of World War II, the escape from Colditz Castle. Colditz was no ordinary prison. It was a notorious, high-security German POW camp for the most difficult-to-handle Allied prisoners, deemed escape artists. If you ended up here, it was because you'd already tried to escape other camps. Colditz was considered impossible to break out of, a medieval castle perched on a cliff heavily guarded. But to a few determined prisoners, no prison was truly inescapable. One group of British officers, frustrated but not deterred, hatched one of the most imaginative plans in the history of wartime escapes. Their idea? They would build a glider and fly out of Colditz Castle. Yes, you heard that right. A glider. Using only what they could scavenge from around the prison, these resourceful prisoners built an entire aircraft in secret. They called it the Colditz Cock. The project was led by Bill Goldfinch, a British officer who had a background in engineering. He and his fellow prisoners used materials like bed sheets for the wings, wooden slats from their beds for the frame, and even porridge as a substitute for glue. All of this took place in the castle's attic, just a few floors above the watchful eyes of the German guards. They worked in shifts, secretly carrying parts up to the attic, while others distracted the guards with fake escape attempts. Over the course of months, their glider began to take shape. They calculated the distance, wind conditions, and even the angle they'd need to launch it off the castle roof. Finally, by 1944, the glider was ready. The prisoners planned to launch it from the roof and glide across the River Mulde to freedom. But as D-Day approached, Allied forces were closing in and time was running out. The prisoners had to decide whether to risk a final, desperate escape or wait for liberation. Just as they were preparing for the launch, the war ended and Allied forces liberated the castle. The glider never flew, but it had been fully completed. Though it never got its maiden flight, the Colditz glider has gone down in history as a symbol of human creativity and resilience. In 1999, a replica of the glider was built and successfully flown, proving that it would have worked. The Colditz escape plan stands out not just because of the sheer audacity, but because of the incredible ingenuity involved. These prisoners, with nothing more than scraps, built an aircraft that could have flown them to freedom. Their willingness to dream big, even in the darkest of times, continues to inspire. This story reminds us that even when it seems like all odds are against you, there is always room for creativity and hope. The Colditz Cock might not have flown during the war, but it soared in spirit, showing that human perseverance knows no boundaries. So, what do you think? Could you have been bold enough to try building a glider in the middle of a high-security POW camp?